Hello everyone, welcome to Even the Scales. Thank you for clicking on this video today and I hope you're all having a good day. My name's Donna and today on my channel I'm going to talk to you more about the mind control abuse that the majority of my community has been carrying out on me here in Campbelltown, New South Wales. But before I begin, I would first like to do an acknowledgement of country and first acknowledge the Dharawal people, who are the true custodians of the land that I bring you these messages on today. I would also like to pay respects to elders past and present, as well as extend my respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who are watching this video today. For those of you who have heard my story before, I do apologise if the messages that I am bringing you today are quite repetitive of the other videos that I have put out recently. But the thing is, nothing has changed in regards to the inhumane treatment that I am being subjected to right now. And my human rights are also still being violated in some very extreme ways. So until this stops, I just need to keep protecting myself in this way. And a good example of what I mean by my human rights are being violated in some extreme ways is that over the past few days, I've been going to put this camera on to record a video, but I've been having some technical difficulties with my camera, so I couldn't put those videos out. But sometimes it only takes me like reaching for my laptop to put on the camera to start filming a video. And because the people around me, a lot of them that are involved in carrying out this abuse on me, a lot of them are involved. And because they listen in on my home constantly, if they hear me going to do something like that, they will straight away go outside and start creating distractions so that I can't put the messages out. So that's how bad, my human rights are being violated right now. The people around me can listen in on my home, and that's exactly what they're doing 24 hours a day, some of them. For those of you who have not heard my messages before, my family, the majority of my community, and the police and other authorities in this town have been carrying out something called MK Ultra Mind Control on me. If you're not aware of what that is, it is when a large group of people or a community of people all get together and carry out very cruel abuse tactics on one individual. And this is to psychologically torture them. And they do this to affect the person's health, either physically or mentally, or sometimes it could even cause death to some people. And some sort of thing. You can look it up online, MK Ultra Mind Control. Other organisations in the past have carried it out on people, and a lot of people don't survive going through this. And the fact that a lot of people give up on their lives while they're going through this is due to the fact that they purposely isolate you. They make sure that you have no help whatsoever while you're going through the abuse. So this is what's been happening to me. I've even reached out to some large organisations and some people that are in the public eye. These are people that and organisations that are meant to help people that are going through abuse, and they haven't helped me. And I put this down to the fact that either the justice system has lied to them, or they have just told them not to help me, or they've been paid off not to help me. But these people and organisations that I've reached out to, they are people and organisations that claim to be about anti-abuse and things like that. So the police and my family have been carrying this out on me for over 2 years now. 2 years plus. But the abuse got worse around this time last year after I wrote a letter to the police explaining how I had been treated and how they had responded to my calls for help over the past 9 years while I have been living with family and domestic violence in my life. I apologise for that. So I wrote a letter to the police. This is when the abuse intensified. And the letter explained how the police had responded and how I had been treated by them over the past 9 years during that time that I'd called them for help. Over that time period, there were 12 calls that I made to the justice system. On each and every one of those occasions, I was treated either very unfairly or my calls for help were not followed up at all. And I've actually made a whole video on how the police dealt with those calls. And it's called Police Corruption and Domestic Violence and Addressing the Toxic Police in My City. That's the title of it. So I'll put the link in the description box if you want to go back and have a look at that. But that video explains in detail how the police handled those calls. The reason this is being done to me is that it's all a part of a police cover-up. I think it's partly due to this letter that I wrote. The police definitely do not want that information being made to the public about how they responded to those calls for help. And this is because domestic violence is such a huge problem in this country. That's one of the reasons. Another reason is that my family stole an inheritance from me, and so this is why they are so invested in carrying this out on me as well. They obviously don't want to give that money back and they don't want to get caught for that. But the justice system helped them take that money from me as well. So that's another thing they're trying to cover. I also reported a pedophile in 2020 that the police have done nothing about. That person is still living in a community. And the reason that the police did nothing about that person was because they just wanted to psychologically abuse me by not doing anything about that person. There are also other crimes that there have been police officers involved in that are connected to this family. One of them being a very serious and violent crime against women. So it's all of these things that they are trying to cover up. Obviously, they don't want to be held accountable for those things, so they would rather try and just get rid of me. And that's exactly what they have tried to do over the past year. They have tried to literally take my life. I had family members that were in the police force that were protecting my family, and there were also police connected to my family as well. And this is why justice has been blocked for me. Some of these police have obviously been obstructing justice. And to carry this abuse out on me, the justice system must have hired someone to research every single aspect of my life, dating right back to my childhood, because they know absolutely everything about me, and I can tell this by the things that they're using to carry out this abuse. They research right back to my childhood and like all of the traumas that I've been through. All of the things that I liked in life, they have taken away from me. They have tried to remove everything that brought me happiness, and everything that I don't like, they have tried to use against me as abuse, including the traumas that I've been through. And back in February or March of this year, they devised this grand plan. I feel like this was meant to take me out of the picture, right out. Either that or just to cause serious damage to my health. But my family and certain community members were involved in this, and what they did was they tricked me into being taken to the Campbelltown Public Hospital, where they admitted me as an involuntary mental health patient. I was there for 5 weeks against my will, and I was put through intense psychological abuse by the doctors, the nurses, and the fake patients that they had set up ready to carry this out on me. I should never have been taken to that hospital in the first place. I wasn't thinking of taking my life at all on that day. I love my life too much to ever think of doing anything like that. I was definitely not thinking of doing that, and I wasn't even having a mental health episode or anything like that. I did call an organisation on that day for help because I was upset, and this is an organisation that, once again, is meant to help people that are going through emotional issues and family and domestic violence. But I realised, not long after I had called them, that they were actually involved on this whole setup. And throughout all of last year, I also realised that my family, the people that I had had close to me in my life, some of the organisations that I was involved with, they were all planning this. They were all premeditating this to play out, and they all knew what they had to do if I called anyone for help. They had premeditated the whole situation to take place. So I got taken to this hospital, Campbelltown Public Hospital, and admitted. And as soon as I walked into that hospital, I knew that something was very, very wrong and that I was in a lot of trouble just by what was going on around me. It was like they had closed down the whole. No, I'm not going to say it was like they had. I'm going to say it was. They did close down that whole 4th floor of that hospital to carry this abuse out on me. Everyone who set foot into that ward on the 4th floor knew about what was going on, and they were all a part of it. Even the visitors that walked in to visit the fake patients that they had set up, they all had a role to play in this as well. All of the staff that set foot onto that 4th floor during the 5 weeks that I was there were involved in carrying this plan out. And I went through 5 weeks of very, very cruel abuse. And just I could tell from the extremes that they were going to carry out this abuse that they must have done this before on other people and gotten away with it. To just be so sure that they'd be able to pull this off and get away with what they were doing. So it was like once they got me there, they tried to trigger a mental health episode. So I was fine when I got there, but over that period, over that 5 weeks, they could not trigger a mental health episode at all, even though they tried really, really hard. And my family also had a role to play in this, and their role was to abandon me after they got me there. So then they did that very, very well. Once they got me there, it was like they knew, they had me there. They got me right where they wanted me to be, and they just thought that they had achieved their goal of what they had set out to do. I'm sure I was never meant to get out of that hospital in my family's eyes, because their whole demeanour changed once they got me there. I had to practically beg my family members to bring me in the things that I needed, just the basic necessities that I needed. And they did bring me in a few things, but most of the stuff that I needed, I had to end up ordering online and having it delivered to the hospital. So it was just really unbelievable to just, when I first got in there, like it was like I just could not believe what was going on around me and just how cruel people were being. It was just unbelievable. So they had to end up letting me out. They couldn't trigger this episode that they were trying so hard to achieve. But during the time that I was in that hospital, I read through the rights of an involuntary mental health patient, and every single right had been violated by the people at that hospital during that time. And I had to develop like just super strong control over my emotions while I was there, just to hold myself back from not getting angry or, to seem like I was about to have an episode or anything like that. Because if I had have done that, there's no way that I would have got out. No way, because that's exactly what they tried to do. I don't think there was hardly a second while I was in there that I wasn't being provoked by somebody doing something. And if I hadn't have had that control, I wouldn't have got out. So it was like a matter of life and death. And as I say, they must have done this to people before in the past. So this is why I want people to know what has happened. This is in a public hospital. You wouldn't think something like this could ever happen. I've also made a video on that hospital stay, and it's called The 5 Weeks That I Spent in Hell in the Campbelltown Public Hospital. I'll also put that link in the description box. If you want to go back and look at that, it will tell you in detail some of the things that I went through while I was there, and it's absolutely unbelievable. So my human rights are being violated in some very extreme ways, and it's been like this for months and months and months. There is a listening device in my home and in my car, and I'm also tracked everywhere I go. All of my devices have also been hacked, and the police and the community can listen in on my home and watch what I'm doing on all of my devices at all times. The police stalk me constantly as well. They have stalked me a lot since the last video that I made. I think it's been about 5 or 6 days since the last video. During that, in between that time, I reckon there's been about 30 times that the police have stalked me. They have done this every day over the past 9 months, on and off, every day. And they do this to intimidate me, to cause me stress and anxiety. And this is because they know that I have PTSD and that I have been abused by narcissists pretty much my whole life. So this is why they are doing this. And they're also doing it just to rub the fact in that they are not there to help me. So they're pretty much, just, laughing in my face about that. And what they do is they stalk by putting their siren on and off. They do this several times throughout the day and night. They did it at about 4 o'clock this morning. They also stalk in the helicopter. They will fly lower over my home. And what they're doing, it's not only disrespectful to me, I think it's disrespectful to all women that have been through any kind of abuse, because they're actually terrorising an innocent person for no reason whatsoever. I am not guilty of any crime. They are doing this purely because they do not want to accept accountability for their wrongdoings. But, to be honest, I would expect nothing more from the police at Campbelltown Police Station, because I just know how they have treated me over the past few years when I've needed them for help. They're also still carrying out premeditated noise attacks. These are the most pointless and illogical thing that I have ever seen in my life. What they do is they plan out these noise attacks using transport. They're using private transport and public transport to do this, and they plan them, and they just get a lot of people to drive and ride around on bikes, and they just make as much noise as they possibly can. So there's a lot of loud cars involved, there's a lot of motorbikes, trail bikes. There are even trains that have been involved in this, and planes. The planes are still flying over constantly. Jumbo jets and light planes they're using. And when the jumbo jets fly over, they do something with their motor to just create the loudest, thunderous noise that they possibly can. And sometimes this goes on all day here in Campbelltown, and there's barely a minute where you do not hear the thunder of an aeroplane in the sky at times. They do this on and off. But they're using public and private transport to do this, so obviously the public transport system is involved. Up until a few days ago, they were doing this constantly, and it would go for about 4 or 5 hours every morning and 4 or 5 hours every night. And you would really have to be, you had to be here to appreciate how loud this is. It's just so chaotic, or it was so chaotic when they first started doing this. And the reason I say it's so pointless and illogical is they're actually doing this to affect me. They're doing this to affect my mental health, my nervous system. But see, I wasn't supposed to still be here. I probably wasn't meant to make it out of that hospital. There's a jumbo flying over now. Probably won't pick it up on the camera, but they try and make as much noise as they can when they fly over. Like sometimes it sounds like they're actually going to crash. Like I think it's to create anxiety as well. So they're doing these noise attacks to affect my nervous system, my mental health, my stress levels. But it's been going on for 9 months, and I don't think I was still meant to be here this long. If they've done it to other people in the past, maybe they didn't make it this far through it. But it's only my faith in God that has got me through this, because I've had no help whatsoever. But the noise has got to be affecting the whole town. It's got to be taking its toll on a lot of people's stress levels. And I'm sure that there are a lot of people that have been sleep deprived over the past 9 months, especially the ones that live on the main road, because this is where most of the noise is being generated from. And they infringe on the noise restrictions all the time. They do not care at all. And with all this extra traffic, of course, there is all this extra pollution as well. And by doing this, they are actually committing crimes against the environment. So they are not regulating the noise restrictions at all, the authorities in this town, and they are not regulating the pollution. And it is the council and the police that are meant to be regulating those things, but it is the council and police who are actually being a part of this. They carried out a noise attack this morning at 4 a.m. and the police were involved in it. So that's how out of control things are here in Campbelltown. The police have gone rogue. I don't know if it's all of them, but most of them, I think. And I have actually watched people create pollution on purpose while I've been going through this, because they know that I care about the environment. So I've watched people deliberately do this in front of me just to try and get an angry reaction out of me. And I don't think the authorities of this town looked at the big picture when they said that they would turn a blind eye to this going on. Obviously, obviously there has to be somebody turning a blind eye, or a couple of people, you know, leaders in this town that are turning a blind eye to what's going on. And I think they must be getting a payoff or something for it. And they must also be very selfish people, because they definitely do not have the best interests of the whole community in mind at all. A lot of the people that live around me were a part of this abuse. They must have agreed to be a part of it. Not all of them, but a very large majority of them. And over the past 9 months, they have been carrying out noise attacks as well, and they will do this by using power tools. And at one stage, this was going on constantly, or they would just be trying to provoke me in other ways, just carrying out some kind of psychological abuse. And the ones that live close enough to me that have been involved in this, they have really taken advantage of the fact that they have that close access. And I mean, these people are listening in on my home, and a lot of them are just like, they're listening in, they're thinking of ways to carry out abuse, then they're carrying out the abuse, and then they're coming back and listening in on my home again just to see if it's worked, to see if they've triggered a reaction, or to see if it's affected me in any way. And obviously they're getting paid for it, or they were expecting some kind of lump sum when I passed away or got sick or something, but they haven't been able to trigger a reaction out of me either. But they have tried very hard. Some of them have been absolutely obsessed with doing this, to the point where they have like devoted their whole life to it, some of them. A lot of them have stopped recently. This is only recently, but this is because more and more of the truth is getting out about what's been going on here because of these videos that I've been putting out. But there are still a couple that are still just constantly stalking. And I just think these people must be natural abusers that, like they've got their own motive as to why they're doing this to me. And they have been given this power to listen in on my home, and they're enjoying having that power over me and, being able to abuse me. And because the police are constantly abusing me as well, the people around me that are like this are just, they think it's fantastic, because they know they're not going to get any repercussions from it. There also seems to be, sometimes the neighbours too, I've noticed, they will, like, they must premeditate together, like what time they're going to all do something. I've noticed this, like there'll be a certain time and they will all do something at the same time, different things, just to try and, get a reaction out of me. There also seems to be one person that is overseeing this whole thing. This person listens in on my home 24/7, and they are trying to control as much as they possibly can in my life. They listen in, and I've only got to move through the night, and this person must give the signal to somebody. And they have people waiting ready to carry out noise attacks in cars and on bikes. And this is what happened at 4 a.m. this morning. They heard me wake up. Straight away, they started carrying out this noise attack, and the police were involved in that. Sometimes I've only got to get up and open my door, and they know that I've opened that door because they're listening, and they will start sending noisy traffic up the road, or they'll start sending stalkers past my house. So this person is trying to control every single aspect of my life. They also control everything I see as far as advertisements go on the social media platforms that I use, and they use these advertisements in ways to psychologically abuse me as well. And this person is really, really sick-minded, and I can just tell this by the kind of abuse tactics that they use. If they see that something hurts me in any way, they will do it 10 times more because they know that it's hurt me. So this person is like a sadist or something like that. They must be. They're very, very cruel with the things that they do. And no matter what I am doing, if I am in my home or if I go out, this person is constantly sending things towards me to provoke me. If I drive my car, this person sends people towards me on the road to try and cause me accidents or just delays as well. If I go for a walk, they will send stalkers on foot towards me, or they will just send loud cars past me, cars that are giving off a lot of pollution and things like that. They will deliberately do that. If I go to the shop, they send stalkers towards me, and sometimes it can just be like tens of stalkers, but there has been times when it's been like hundreds of stalkers that they've sent towards me. And they send these people to either mock me, they mock the things that I do in my home, or just carry out some kind of psychological abuse. They will also send fake customers to the stores that I go to, and sometimes the staff in the stores are involved as well. A lot of the things that they do are quite subtle, so if you didn't know what was going on, you wouldn't even notice. But because I know what's going on, I'm very, very intuitive, and this has been going on for 9 months now, over 9 months. I know exactly what they're doing, and they want me to say something about these things because they're just little things, but they want me to say something so that I sound crazy by saying something about them. They want to be able to say that I'm having a mental health episode or something, that I'm imagining it, or I'm having delusions. Oh, pardon me. But this makes me think of incidents that have happened in the past too, like in shopping centres or public places where people have gone crazy with knives and guns and people have lost their lives. It makes me wonder if people that have done those kind of things have been provoked because they are going through something like this. It makes me wonder if they were going through MK Ultra, because I know that this is what they're trying to do to me. They are trying to provoke a mental health episode in me by doing this. And it also makes me wonder, like, what are they telling the stalkers that they're sending towards me if this is the case? Are they telling these stalkers that they could be putting their lives in danger if this is the case? What are they telling them? They're obviously paying people to do this, and they're sending a lot of children, mothers, daughters, and grandmothers towards me. And this is to make me feel lonely or helpless. And this is because they know that my family has abandoned me. They know that my grandchildren were one of the first things that they took away from me as a part of this abuse, because they were one of the things that I loved more than anything. So they're sending a lot of grandmothers and grandchildren towards me and things like that. And I just wonder, like, do these people know that they could be putting their children in danger? I mean, obviously I'm not going to do anything like that, but to be this confident about carrying out something on such a large scale like this, with so many people involved and with the extremes that they're going to, they must have done this before and gotten away with it with other people. There's no doubt in my mind whatsoever. And I see these grandmothers coming towards me with children, that they are specifically coming towards me to cause me psychological pain. And I just think to myself sometimes, how can you be doing that to another woman in that way? Like, some people are so cold, and this experience has really made me realize just how many cold-hearted people that there actually are in the world. And believe me, there is a lot. So not only have they taken away my privacy as a part of my human rights being violated, they have also taken away my freedom to have an authentic experience. They have also taken away my freedom to move freely in life as well. And believe me, psychological abuse is just as bad as physical abuse. It's every bit as bad, because psychological abuse is like having your heart broken over and over again. And I truly believe that people can actually pass away from a broken heart. So this is what it's like. That's what it's been like. The other day I got out of my car at a shopping centre, and I opened up the door, and they let off a firecracker. So this is the kind of thing that they do just to put me on edge and make me jumpy, and then they'll just send people towards me making loud noises as well while I'm at the shops. A lot of it's become very, very predictable, because they don't really come up with anything new. I went out for a little bit this morning, and they were just doing the same stuff as they always do. And yeah, it's pretty pathetic, actually, that it's so pointless. It's got to the point where it looks ridiculous, and it's just so pointless. But the fact is that it's still going on, and this just needs to stop happening in my life because of the way that it's affecting my rights. And I have tried to record this video a couple of times over the weekend, but I was having technical difficulties, and the person that's overseeing all this, that listens in on my home, they heard me mention on that video how when I had been in the hospital for the 5 weeks, how my family wouldn't bring in the basic necessities that I needed, and I had to order them online. So this is an example of the kind of thing this person does. After they heard me mention that in that video, they sent that same delivery company to park out the front of my house. The delivery was for somewhere down the road, but they got that delivery truck to park out the front of my house and to make as much noise as possible. And they did that just to try and psychologically abuse me, because, I don't know, it's meant to remind me of when I was in the hospital, apparently. This is the kind of stupid, pointless stuff they're doing. But I actually got that person's number plate, and I know where they work, so I'll be using that in the future, I'm sure, when the truth all comes out about this. So I'm also speaking out about this because I want the people that have been involved in this held accountable. And this is especially for the people that have been involved in this that live around me, because it is these people that have worked so hard every single day, all day, the ones that have been involved, to try and take my life or destroy my life or make me sick. They have worked so hard at it. So I want them held responsible. I also want my family members held responsible for what they have done. And for some of my family members, it wasn't enough for them just to steal my money. Some of them actually wanted to steal my entire life. So around this time last year, a couple of my family members broke into my home, and they actually stole all my writing, because I'm a writer, and they also stole all of my spiritual work. because I am actually a psychic and I write down a lot of the messages that I get. And they stole all of those because they wanted them for themselves. And I want them held responsible for that as well. And most importantly, I want the police held responsible for what they have done. I want them to be held accountable because the way the police have acted in this town is disgraceful and it is just so immature. I just can't believe that police are even acting this way. And I think when it's all said and done, who actually really wants police that behave like this running their town? Surely people who have daughters or people who have suffered through any kind of domestic violence in the past could relate to what I'm saying. And these people that are signing up to carry out this abuse on me, these stalkers, do they realise that they are contributing to the fact that, this is not helping domestic violence to get any better? This is not helping violence against women to get any better. It's what they've been doing is committing crimes against the environment, and the people that are contributing to this by carrying out this abuse on me, they are actually condoning this. I have also seen children and animals being abused through this. I haven't seen it, but I've heard it. I've heard people abusing children and animals through this just to try and get a reaction out of me. And there's also a pedophile that's still living in a community here in Campbelltown that the police have done nothing about. So it's all of these things that these people are condoning by helping to carry out this abuse on me right now. So that's really all I have to say today. And if you've listened to the whole video, I thank you very much. If you can, I would appreciate it if you could like or even share the video. It would just help the video to circulate a little bit more out there. And once again, I thank you all for listening. I'll keep you updated on anything else that happens. So I'll talk to you on the next one. Bye for now and God bless.